Okay, I'm recording.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we are recording, and where are we again? Because we just started recording.
We're in the house right now.
Okay.
And, what we grow in here are beets, carrots, cabbage, and lots of more things. And these are the rows right here. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and we plant all the way down.
Oh,
And it's crazy because it's actually really hot in here, even though it's cold outside, because of course the plastic on the outside allows it to bring in the heat from the sunlight, but it's like hold it in and stop it from escaping. But we also have like a vent going because you can't let it get too hot in here, because obviously that's no good for the plants. But the reason it's so hot in here because it gets nice and humid, and it's really good for the plants, and it helps them grow better. So, yeah.
awesome.
So I think we should move on to the rows.
Okay.
Exit out from here and go down.
Yeah, we could exit out.
Sure.
And that's what plants need the most too, is the humidity and the hotness, so they can grow. And they just need to prosper like that. So yeah, and the most best plant that survives in heat is zucchini. Zucchini's good. And they're the best plant to grow like in any type of community. I've grown it in sand at my old house, and it lived.
Oh,
And I've
thank you.
had,
Resilient.
it's the most resilient plant that you can have. I had so many one year. I had to give them like so much. You guys want to go down?
Can you ask them what their favorite plant to grow is?
Yes. Let's stop right here real quick. We got a question from the group.
Yeah, of course.
What is your favorite plant to grow?
Tomatoes. Tomatoes because they're sweet and I like to put salt on them.
I just had a tomato with salt today. I love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jesus because me and my mom love to grow tomatoes because they're like, we eat tomatoes almost every day with almost like all of these meals. There's so many different ways to incorporate tomatoes into your diet, and it's I don't know, it's really fun, to look for the tomatoes, and like it's really satisfying whenever you find one that you miss. So especially when they get really big and beautiful and nice and juicy and red.
Yeah. It's a nice learning experience too, even for beginner farmers, so they can learn, and then later on, whenever they grow up into an adult, they can teach their children.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you cook with tomatoes?
Well, I personally don't really like to cook tomatoes because I like to eat them like that, how they are after they grow.
Or even
Just
with
fresh.
Sandwiches are the best with tomatoes, lettuce, and mustard.
Yeah, I like to put the tomatoes in my hamburgers, in my burritos. But one thing that I do like to eat them whenever they are cooked is my mom likes to cook them with her rice, along with onions, and it's like my favorite dish that my mom can make. So
Sounds simple and delicious.
yeah, it is.
All right.
And show them the farmer here.
So what are these that we're looking at?
Here are the blackberries. A lot of times right now they just got cut back, not even so they'll like
About a month.
about a month. So now they're just starting to pop up. This grow from there, and it just goes all the way down. We have about 7, 8 rows now.
Yeah.
Before it was like 5, huh? Yeah.
And whenever you're growing berries, you have to have things wire. These act as support because they grow up kind of like vines. They grab on the stuff, and if they don't, it's really hard to eat things with grapes. Yeah, along with grapes or any other vine plant, because whenever they produce fruit, it's really hard to get to, and sometimes it's really tedious if they get all knotted up, and it's just really hard to clean up, and it's just a waste of fruit.
Yeah, but these act as a support for like how they're saying, like so it can grow, because if we wouldn't have these, it would just be on the ground just like just
So,
like
like
yeah,
a carpet.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned something about the babies. Do you see
Yeah.
any of those?
So like their babies are basically the offspring of the main root. So usually find one. Here, there's one right there. So there's one. Here's the main spring, and then this is the offroot, the offspring. So usually when there's an offspring, that's when Mr. Cornelio or Candelaria will either dig them right up, and then we'll plant them on another row to keep them going.
Oh, the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah,
And what's this? Do you guys know what that is?
I do not know actually. I have no clue on that one.
So this is clover. This is a friend because it fixes nitrogen. So the plants need nitrogen, right? So
Right.
not only does it fix the nitrogen for them, but it also covers the ground. It keeps the
Right,
The
and
water
we
in the
also
ground.
and there's some wild dandelions, which is actually good for you.
yes.
Dandelion root is actually a good tea that you can make. It'll help with your sinuses or headaches and help as a detox.
Mm.
Especially if you're going through something like going through drugs. It's the best way to detox is dandelion tea or detox tea.
Hmm.
It's
Do
also
you
very pretty.
Very
they
pretty.
smell good too.
Very.
cool.
I think we can move on to the road.
Okay.
The field.
It's like we spot a farmer over there.
Yes,
You
and that
asked
is
me
on the
again.
lot.
Oh, another question.
Sure, we have another question for you. What's your question, Marisa?
So, how long have y'all been kind of working with farms, working on farms, and what would be some advice you would give to like young students about how they can start down the path that y'all are on?
Oh, I would have to say, so when you first start with simple seeds, like they said, tomatoes is the best way to start. Beans, the best starters are beans, tomatoes,
Or even jalapenos. too.
jalapenos,
Yeah.
yeah, chili,
Yeah, you can even try growing melons. So,
yeah. And the number one thing is just not to overwater.
Hmm.
That is just one thing that you can't do is overwater. And then I learned from here, and then when I went to do work with my uncle for a bit, I did it and I just adapted more of the farming techniques.
Mhm. Beautiful.
And it's very interesting too because you can teach your offspring or your children later on in the future, and it's a blessing too because you grow, yeah, and then you learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you guys have go
Well,
further?
like I said, like I've always been interested in outdoors and farming and agriculture. So one good way to get into it is like some students, whenever they get to high school, they pick the cool electives like metals class and woods class, and they overlook the other classes like a small animal science class, for instance. And that's what I took in my case. I just was handed an opportunity that my brother was also able to receive. So I took the opportunity to get outdoors and to work on the field with different local farmers. So I think a good way to get into farming and to get your foot in the door is to try new things, because that small animal science class was definitely something I wasn't expecting to experience at all.
Thank you for sharing your advice and stories. And who do we have over here? Don't have to introduce yourselves. It's okay. Would you like to introduce Lorenzo?
Oh yeah, this is our boss, Pepe. Yeah, Lorenzo. And he's the one that runs this land over here, which I thank him for teaching us. Local words that we can learn from, especially because we need to look up to and respect our elders, and you can always learn something whenever you just.
good advice.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's always giving us good advice. So sometimes it's best to sit down and just pay attention.
Yes.
These kids are fucking awesome. These
Lorenzo,
kids are
would you like-
fucking awesome.
Yeah, you hear that, you guys?
Yeah, thank you. Gracias.
Lorenzo.
Awesome.
My name is Lorenzo Candelaria. We've been working this land in our family for over 300 years. And the fact that today is Earth Day is very important to me because every day is Earth Day around here. Mother Earth is a living creature. Mother Earth is a living creature and she requires attention just like any other living creature. If you have a pet dog or a pet cat, you feed it every day, you take care of it, you nurture it, and it brings you joy. And for me, that's what this is about, is the joy of seeing life in all of its cycles and then being able to eat from it and to nourish myself and to share the experience with young people that are they're the hope of everything, because they're the seeds that we planted another generation back, and it's up to them to see that that same seed is planted 7 generations forward, because that's what it takes to make a complete circle of generations. And what I try to teach here is the sacredness of what Mother Earth is. It's not just ground we stand on or food on. She's a sacred being. She's a living creature just like us. Same energy that we use in our daily lives is also used by Mother Earth. And the composition of our bodies, what we are made of. We're made of water, carbon, XXX, is all part of what Mother Earth is. So we are this, and this is us. And if we unite our consciousness to this, then we become a complete cycle of life. And I try to emphasize to the young people that this is not just Earth, not the planet Earth, it's you. You are this, and this is you. And we have to understand that the sacredness of this is our survival. And the recognition of that is so very, very important. So very important. And so we strive to help young people understand that this is what they are. We depend on this for our food, for our water, for the air we breathe, for the clothes we wear, the houses we live in. Everything comes from her. And she's a very bountiful mother if we nourish her and respect her for what she is. Because she's a living being just like us. Anybody else? Yes.
I don't know.
Should we show them the crops over here or like the fields?
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course. So Lorenzo, what were you gonna plant right here?
We're going to do vegetables, and there's different varieties like cucumbers and radishes and squash and melons and watermelons and chili. When you see the tractor right there, you're going to plant corn.
Thank you.
Okay. And here in this empty field here,
There's actually people in there.
Yes. Would you like to know who's on the call real quick, guys? We have my boss, Randy. We've got Travis McKenzie, and we've got Vincent Case, and we've got Marisa Mora. And this will be recorded so we could share with whoever you guys want to.
Yo, gente, you guys rock, right on.
Does anyone?
Órale, maestro.
what's going on?
Good to see you guys. You got the next crop right there. You guys sound awesome. Very impressed by the young people.
Well, we're teaching tractor work. We're teaching how to work with our hands and how to do real farm work, not just gardening.
Órale.
So we're into it this year.
I'm gonna have to come see you guys when I get a chance.
Come on down.
I'll be there too. I'll be there too.
Let's do a caravan to go to Don Lorenzo's and meet these amazing youth from Rio Grande.
Ariana, do you want to film? You can hold the camera.
Yeah.
To the tour. All right.
Speaking of vegetables, I saw some asparagus popping up back
Yeah,
there.
there's some.
Okay.
I'm glad you recognize them.
Well, they have the same genes as orchids.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Lorenzo, when do you water over here?
I already watered last week,
Interesting.
and probably at the end of this week, probably Saturday, I'll put more water on it.
Interesting. So once a week, or about?
7 to 14 days, depending on the heat and the wind,
Oh, okay.
because the soil with the wind, it dries out real quick. So I've got to keep an eye on what it's doing. And that's how I regulate my water.
So from your experience, what's the easiest crop to grow?
All of it.
Yeah.
They're all just easy. I like the berries because they're a perennial crop. I don't have to plant them every year. But there's a lot of work that's involved in pruning and trellising and making sure that the plant is nourished.
Right.
So it's all work. There's no, how would I put it without sounding?
There's no bachelor, there's no shortcuts.
There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's no shortcuts. And you have to look at it all as a labor of love, because this is your mother. Your mother.
And once you nourish it, it brings it back, or like it helps you out.
It feeds you.
Yes, exactly.
We're still nursing.
Exactly.
So I have a question. Are you watering? I go drive by the North Valley and I don't see any water in the acequias yet. So are you watering off of acequias or are you watering out of a well? And the second question is, during the fall and winter, how do you supplement the soil? Because I know that sometimes they rotate crops in different fields to make sure that the nutrients stay balanced. So I was just wondering about that.
Question is, do you water with the acequia? He said he saw the acequias are dry. And the second question is, what do you use to fertilize, or do you add anything to the soil?
Yes, I do. This year, the water in the irrigation ditches is going to be very, very scarce. So I supplement my water with drip tape. You can see here in the berries where I have this material here. This water comes out of a well, and it's just enough to nourish the plant. The plant requires a lot of water. So we don't know what's going to happen this year. And so I mitigate the drought with this pile here is the cuttings from the blackberry plants that I pruned this last winter. And I added chicken manure to that, and I'm allowing it to compost. And that's what's going on in the field. That's going into the field, and that's how I nourish. Hey, John.
Everybody.
We got Mr. Wright over there.
John Wright, I'm a teacher at Rio Grande High School and program. And we have 10 students here that are working at several farms in the South Valley and at the Humble House Training Farm. And we're very happy to be able to help out farmers. It's a hard job and being supportive of farmers and hoping that we'll have a good season this year.
Nourish the soil. These are the cuttings from last year's pruning of the blackberry. And I add chicken manure. Yeah, chicken. Allow it to compost. That's what goes on in the field.
I think that that little practice right there kind of emphasizes the whole circle because you're recycling. What most people would throw away, right? So like the blackberries also help the soil, and the chickens also help the soil.
Yes.
And the chickens obviously thrive off the soil as well, right?
Right.
So
Another thing that I wanted to point out, see this plant here? The reason I keep so much of it in my blackberry patch is because this is a nitrogen fixing plant, which means that any nitrogen that I put onto the soil, which is what the chicken manure is, it's almost pure nitrogen. This fixes it and it breaks it down so that the plants can use it in alfalfa.
Oh, I thought it was clover.
No,
Whoops.
it's alfalfa.
They look kind of similar.
Yeah, they're pretty closely related. But another plant that I use too, that's considered a noxious weed, is this one here, and that's bindweed. And the reason I use that is because it has very deep roots, and it keeps the soil aerated, and it keeps the topsoil in one piece, so that none of it blows away. So it's a symbiotic relationship between the plant, the animal, and the harvest. And that's how we operate here, full cycle.
And so, Lorenzo, do you have any predators that come and like eat the plant?
Bugs, yeah, bugs. There's a beetle that grows, especially for the blackberry. It's called the Japanese pig beetle. It's a big, iridescent green, beautiful creature. It loves blackberries. And this year, I don't know if you can see over there, there's a gallon bottle. I'm building traps, and I'm putting vinegar and water. At the bottom of it, the bugs go in and they can't get out. So I'm trying to use as organic methods as organic as I possibly can. And it's essential that we do that, because anytime you alter food, you also alter yourself. For example, if you're eating genetically modified foods, your body is not here to accept that, digest it, and to gain the nutrients that the plant is. So what that does, because this plant is changed, soon it also changes you, and you become genetically modified. Because this is what we survive. That's modified, and it's kind of crazy. And the end result is cancer. So you name it. It all goes down to what you put in your mouth. And if you're eating foods that are not food, which genetically modified foods aren't, because they don't have the same structure, then you yourself are changed. And we have to understand that when we're talking about it, because it don't seem so hypothetical. It's very common phrase. Everybody just uses it and tosses it, but they don't really understand what it does. They know what it means. They know what genetic modification is, but they don't know what it does to us. Because we're consuming that, we're consuming those genetically modified plants. And like, for example, our meats and our dairy, those are all very, very adulterated with growth hormones and God knows what else, pesticides, non-organic chemical fertilizers, and we consume all of that. So it changes the makeup of our genetics. And when you hear the word GMO, remember that doesn't just mean the plant; it means you too. Because you're eating it, you're consuming it. So that's my spiel about GMOs.
Nice.
What else?
So what are you going to be planting over here?
Wheat. Wow. And I'm trying to plant drought tolerant as I possibly can. My chili, my corn, and my wheat all come from the deserts of Sonora and Arizona. So they're already acclimatized to drought. And because this year is going to be rough, I'm hoping that those genetics that these plants have, these seeds have, will also work here. But farming is always an experiment. You're never, you can project all you want, but the reality is that you're at the mercy of Mother Earth. And she dictates what you do. We're just conduits of energy. We consume the energy from the earth, and through our labor, we give it back. And it's a full cycle. And the same with our food. When we eat food, when we waste, then it all goes back to the earth. What does Earth Day mean to you?
Earth Day wanting to do something that feels good to you. So what I do is I just sit with my plants and I just meditate while I'm gardening. And when I meditate while I'm gardening, I just talk to Mother Earth, wanting to have a great harvest, just wanting to have a better life in general. And when I ask when it's ready, I ask if it's okay. And like carrots or basil, onion, that's like I always love when I'm gardening.
Plants and everything living on Earth, Mother Earth has a spirit. Everything that is living, everything that possesses the life force has a spirit. And so when you're communing with that spirit, it's a completion of a cycle. So good for you. What's your idea of birthday?
I think to connect with yourself and like to connect with the earth. I think it's very good too, because then you learn for yourself and then you can provide for yourself being when in the future, whenever you want to plant, craft. And I love it too, because you connect with yourself and with others.
I like to think like Mr. Candelaria said that every day is Earth Day, and we have to acknowledge the Earth every day that we live. But Earth Day specifically, I like to gather with other people and celebrate, because even like with COVID and stuff, we can still celebrate Earth together. Give back like our thanks to Mother Nature. And, I think it's always good to get out into the environment, so especially with other people.
Dora, what does Earth Day mean to you?
What a beautiful thing to be celebrating the earth. Huh? It's just, it provides everything for us. Water, food, sunlight. You don't take care of it. We don't appreciate it. It's just wonderful. Actually, we have a day celebrated because it's like our mother. She does everything, everything.
Let's see. Well, Earth Day is kind of like a birthday, right? So, I mean, Earth Day is a celebration of the earth. Just as your birthday is a celebration of life. So, I guess today, Earth Day is celebrate that, and it's a stepping stone.
What does it say?
You didn't get Mr. Right.
Hey, I don't know if it's just
Hi,
me,
Earth Day.
but
We could all think about how lives are in common here, how we all are connected to the earth, and that we all come from the same place, and we all have a similar concern about taking care of each other and taking care of the world.
Someone said, "Good everyone. Thanks for sharing the wisdom. I gotta run to another meeting, but be well and keep up the important life work." Any questions?
Everyone said they have to do another meeting.
Oh, that's cool.
But they said thank you for sharing.
Yeah, definitely. Would you, looks like Marisa's still there. Would you guys like to do anything else?
How often do the high schoolers go over there?
How long do we come over here?
Oh, yeah. Can you answer that ever, Ariana?
We come every Saturdays.
Mostly Saturdays, what time?
9 to 12, right?
And Thursday, what time on Thursdays?
We come Thursdays.
Yeah, because of
Birthday.
Oh,
I think we could all take a few hours out of our day on Thursday to come out here and do a presentation. So
It depends when we don't have school.
yeah.
do y'all go
oh,
to the
okay.
Bubble House on
And
Saturdays?
what days?
I don't know. They were both talking this.
Oh,
Yeah, what
Saturdays
days
are
you go to the Hubble House? It was the same question, just what days do they go to the Hubble House too?
We go
Oh,
on
so
Saturdays.
everything happens on Saturdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saturdays and holidays.
What about over the
Saturdays and
what about over the summer? Does the schedule change?
yes, it does.
And what does it change to?
It depends when we work. We could work like Mondays to Fridays. It depends. Whenever he tells us.
So more often in summer you work, and then
Yeah.
because there's 3 parts of the internship program, right? Spring, summer, fall.
Yeah.
We're not doing classroom stuff this year because of COVID, so we're just working outdoors on Saturdays and holidays.
I think this is cool. I wish that this opportunity was around when I was in high school. That's awesome.
Thank you.
We can come back and be a teacher and do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I wanted to say we appreciate your guys' work, and I work at Polk Middle School, so we'd love to build a bridge from Polk to Rio and maybe meet you guys at the Hubble House one day. That would be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we want to come there too.
Yeah, you guys will have to come check it out.
That's where I actually went to school too, is Polk.
No way. Are you
Yeah, I actually
serious?
went for 3 years. I actually played basketball for my 8th grade year.
Rocha, you're an alumni, bro. We got to bring you back so you can talk to our middle schoolers. That would be awesome.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, ándale.
Field trip over there.
Yeah, field trip.
Yeah.
We need to get a bus.
Total field trip.
Can I go?
We'll work.
I don't know, it's cutting out. Look.
Travis, you're cutting out.
Travis, you're cutting out for us.
Yeah, that's all
You
good.
guys want to say? Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for what?
you.
Do a better way to do us all. Keep up.
Say gracias. See you. Say goodbye.
Oh, bye.